What is up, guys? It's Brillymister here and welcome to today's video. If you do enjoy the video, then don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment and subscribe, and hit all the links up down below to Twitch and Discord. Enjoy the video. What's up, everybody, and welcome to my loot from 10 hours of Ascension creatures or Capsarius, which I did in my Player and Slayer dungeon. Before I get into the video, I just want to give a quick shout out to my clan chat. It's the Casual IM, the name's on screen now. It's my Iron Man clan, which anyone that's an Iron Man can come join. Anyone in the clan sets a recruiter, so you can all join. And even if you're not an Iron Man, feel free to come and chill in the clan. And yeah, it's usually 10-ish people in there at the moment, chilling and chatting. It'd just be nice to grow the clan a little bit, so I thought I'd give it a little plug at the beginning of the video. So anyway, let's get into the loot from 10 hours. So even though I haven't included this bit here of farming the souls for my player and dungeon in the 10 hours, I did them completely separate on a separate day. This was by far the worst bit, like so much worse than Spiritual Warriors, and I thought they were really bad when I did them. It took me probably just over 2 hours. I only got 4 souls. You don't need 5. When I do the guide, I'll explain why you don't need 5 and 4 is plenty. But yeah, I just went along and killed them all here in this bit. It's just after you come into the Ascension creatures area, then you go round to the west and just sort of follow around here, and there's 5 of them that spawn, and you just run up and down and kill them, and it's pretty horrendous. Like, it got to the point where I actually considered going and paying for the 5 mil for the cursed Amstat sands to make my Shabties be able to catch it quicker. I didn't in the end, but it was pretty close. Like, this was horrendous getting all these. But eventually I got my 4 souls, put them in my player and Slayer dungeon. I put them in the large pen because I didn't want to get rid of the Spiritual Warriors in the small one, and it's exactly the same as if you did in the small one. It's not worth it. But yeah, I just did this to get them, and it was really good money from once I got them. So in my inventory here, I've got all of my loot from my 10 hours of killing my Capsarius in my player-owned Slayer dungeon. It's going to be quite good, I think, because the key prices are like, look at that, 770k for a Primus key. Like, that's mental. Even the cheapest one, which I think was like Courteous I think was the cheapest one, 293k. All the rest of them are over 300k, nearly 400k. Secundus again is 528k. And it's just, they're all really expensive, and you get Ceramic Scales as well quite frequently, and like 650k each for Ceramic Scales. So I've got really high hopes for this, and it's really easy. It was completely AFK. So the coins here is for, I took my Spring Cleaner and I got like 6 mils worth of breakdowns from the small rune salvage, and then I got 2 mil in my coin pouch just from my gold accumulator, picking up just the random GP drops they drop. So I'm going to chuck it all in here now, and we'll have a look at it. So 117.9 mil, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about it. It would have been even more if I wasn't like completely AFKing, because when I was looking at this on Rune Metrics, just to make sure I got all the correct loot out of my bank, I was basically only having what my legendary pet picked up, and then I was picking up the keystones and the Ceramic Scales, obviously. So I missed out on like 1500 unpowered orbs. I've only got like half of the Ascension shards. I got like 15k of them if I'd got all of them. And then the same with the battle staffs. I missed out on like 60 air battle staffs, and then like 40 of each of the others. I don't know why the air ones are more, I guess because they're slightly lower value. My legendary pet doesn't prioritise them quite as much as the higher value ones. I'm not really sure, but yeah, so I lost out on a decent chunk of GP, so it could have been even higher. My Rune Metrics actually says 123.2 mil, so take it at what you will. It could be about an extra 6 mil-ish, that is. But yeah, it's very good, the money here. Like, just in Primus keys alone, I've got 26 mil, which is ridiculous. That's 2.6 mil an hour if I only got Primus keys, which is mental. The costs here are pretty minimal as well. Like, you literally go in legacy mode, and I'm just using like the cheapest bolts I could possibly have. I've got a very strange setup again. It's the same as when I was doing Kriara. I didn't want to buy anything for it, so I just kind of used whatever I had in my bank, because like, you could do this in Royal D-Hide, I'm pretty sure. You definitely don't need to have it perked. I just had it perked already. I kind of wish I didn't, because the Divine Charges are pretty expensive right now. The key to making it work is just having the Blood Fury, and then that pretty much keeps you on full hit points. and then you take your Enhanced Excalibur and you invent for the very rare occasion you might get down to like 600 hit points, which is very rare. So yeah, like I said, I'm using a very weird setup here. I got my Spring Cleaner, of course, Ascension Bolts, Max Cape, any cape really would do. I got my Luck of the Dwarves on my stand in my Relic, so I was just using Ring of Vigor just for a bit of extra damage. I got Armadillo Boots because they were in the bank. I didn't have any kind of range hood or like top other than Sirenic, and I didn't want to buy one, so I just used my Slayer Helm. And Cinderbanes were best, but as you guys probably know now, I accidentally dismantled them. So I started off using Nightmare Gauntlets, but then my Nightmare Gauntlets broke, so I'm just using Void Knight Gloves. So like this is definitely not the most efficient setup ever. I might do a guide again in the future with actual gear, but this is just proof to you that like literally any weird combination of gear can work. Like, who uses an Eldritch Crossbow with Void Knight Gloves and Armadillo Boots? Like, it's very, very odd. But like I said, completely AFK, like you literally are on Legacy and you one-hit them 90% of the time. And it's about 500k range XP as well, an hour as well. It's also worth noting, if I go onto my metrics and actually have a look at the metrics for the charms as well, I haven't got them in my inventory because my Charming Imp breaks down most of them. But I got 4.5k green charms, 1.1k crimsons, only 130 blue, and then like 1.2k golds. But yeah, the Charming Imp breaks down most of them for me, so I didn't get most of them. But it's pretty good charms as well as good XP, and it's like completely AFK. You just need to drink an aggression potion. Absolutely ridiculous. I'll break it down more into like GP per kill and everything if you really want, but it's going to probably be a bit strange because well, you kill them pretty quickly. So we'll go into the next slide and we'll break down the GP per kill and everything. So before I actually break down how the GP worked out, I thought I'd break down the XP and the charms that I got. So my ranged XP, I was getting about 450k an hour, completely AFK, which translates to 150k hit points XP. Obviously I don't get that because I'm already 200 mil, but range, this is why I swapped over originally to these, was so I could get range XP, because I felt like Spiritual Warriors were an XP waste as I was already 200 mil in mage and defense. So I swapped here and was very, very pleasantly surprised. As for the charms, this is the charms that had my Spring Cleaner not broken them down, I would have got. I got this from Rune Metrics. So in the 10 hours, I got 1,252 gold charms, which doing the highest XP gold charm or highest level gold charm thing gets me 116k summoning XP. The green charms is where a big chunk of the XP here comes from. However, green charms are pretty expensive. I used Unicorn Stallions as the example for this, but they're pretty expensive, like GP per XP wise. But if you did use them all, that would be nearly 700k XP. As for the Crimson Charms, I used Pack Mammoths as my example for this, as they were relatively cheap and again they were the highest XP per charm. And with 1,169, that would be 513k XP, which is pretty good as well. And then the blue charms, I didn't get many blue charms, these are not great for blue charms. That would only be 107k XP, and that was making, I can't remember exactly what that was making, but it was like 730 XP per charm. Any of the high level blue charm stuff's quite good XP. But it's not a considerable amount you get from that compared to the amount you get from like the green and the crimson charms. So yeah, it's not something that's worth camping just for the charms or for the XP, because there are much better ways to get them. Like if you do ED3, the blue chimes and the XP are going to be absolutely mental compared to this. But yeah, it's definitely a nice little thing to have on the side alongside the fact that you make an absolute ton of GP, which is awesome. So now if we get to the loot and the GP breakdown, so as you saw in the loot tab earlier, the total loot from the 10 hours was 117.9 mil, which works out as 11.9 mil loot per hour. My total kills was 10,088, which is very just slightly over 1,000 kills now, which is pretty awesome to be honest, but that's, I think, contributes to the fact that you like literally one hit them 9 times out of 10, which is awesome. So it's kind of just their spawn time which limits you. My cost per hour I put as 1.2 mil. That is including the fact that divine charges are a stupid amount now. At the time making this, I was paying about 118k per charge. Like, it's got better from the 140k that it was a couple of weeks ago, but it's still pretty bad if I'm honest. The profit per hour then, judging that, is 10.7 mil, which is pretty mental. Like, you could push that even higher by reducing your cost per hour. Like, there is no need to use augmented gear here. you could quite happily go in like Armadillo with like a decimation or like an attuned crystal bow or something, and do pretty much the same and reduce your costs completely down. The only cost that you really need is the aggression potion and overload, although you can probably get away without the overload. You just might have to pay a bit more attention to your hit points, and you probably wouldn't one hit them as frequently. So that's why I put 1.2 mil there. And just to emphasize to you sort of how messed up and broken this GP rate is, bearing in mind this is like a completely AFK, like all you have to pick up is the keys. My legendary pet picked up the staffs for me, but you could just set your spring cleaner to dismount them if you really wanted. So literally all you have to pick up is the keys, and click your aggression potion once every 5 minutes. And the only 2 things that I've done loot from video, PVM wise, which is why I'm not including this because it's kind of like an AFK Slayer creature in there, but PVM wise, the only 2 things that have beaten this so far is Nex, which beats it by like 2 mil per hour, and Magister, which is still the best by a long way. It was like 20 mil an hour, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, like it beat every other boss, ED3, ED2, everything I've done so far in the loot from 10 hours, which is pretty mental. So yeah, definitely go do some Capsarios if you have them in your player-owned dungeon. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and comment down below. Also don't forget to join the Discord server and follow us on Twitch. Until next time guys, see ya.